What's up guys? Today's tutorial is going to be a split guide for Cypher. I'm going to show you how to lock down both sites and any other important locations on defense. I won't be putting any one-way smokes into this tutorial because I already have a separate video for that. I will be putting the card for that right above at this point. If that's what you're looking for, don't forget to go and check that out. Otherwise, if you're actually here to see the video on how to lock down your different sites on split, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoy what I do. Head over and check out my Twitter account and follow me there. And check out my live stream every Tuesday and Saturday nights, pending any life changes that happen. Now with all the jibber jabber out of the way, let's get started. Okay guys, so let's go forward and defend the A site on split. I want you to run up to the window in heaven here, and then I'm going to show you about a million different locations for your camera. I say a million because it's just a general area you could put it in, and then you can choose whichever spot you want within that area, and they all work out pretty much fine. And it's good to mix it up, that way the enemy does not know automatically where to look because you keep your camera in the exact same spot. The best spots to do it are going to be along this line of this building here. You can throw your camera up here and it's extremely well out of sight because of the height that it's at and the angle that it's at, while still being able to show you the entire A main entrance to the site. Like I was saying before, you could put your camera basically anywhere in here. Another spot that I like is right up in this little triangle support on the building as well. From here you can see the exact same thing, and it's got a little bit more coverage. But if you're looking frisky and want to get more information on the enemy, try this line at the top of the building up here. It's more likely for your camera to get caught, but you get a lot more information out of it because you can see the enemies sooner and can tell if any of them are going up the ramp. Now obviously a camera is not enough to defend the site on your own. This is just the beginning to the setup. So the next thing that I want you to do is come right down here and throw this extremely obvious tripwire right here in the middle of the road, and then drop a smoke cage right on top of it. These two work hand in hand together. Once you get them down, I suggest that you hide in one of three different spots. You either hide up in heaven behind this doorway where you're safe, you hide on the rafters behind this wall right here, or my favorite location is actually to hide right down on the site behind the corner. I choose these three locations because all of them give you a great swing and peek angle on your little setup here. What you do from this point on is you just go to your camera and you wait until the enemy starts to move forward. Obviously this tripwire alone would just get found and shot, but as soon as the enemy starts to come close to the tripwire and really dedicates themselves to being stuck in this hallway, what I want you to do is I want you to pop your smoke and then swing out quietly from here. One of two things is going to happen. Either they're going to hit your tripwire while trying to push forward, and then you're going to have sight on them inside the smoke, or they're going to start to back up. But either way, you already saw where they were standing inside this hallway and can easily spray through and kill them without them being able to see you, and then you can back off into your little corner or try and get behind this box here as well. To finish off the defense on the A site, there's a couple different spots that I suggest that you put your second tripwire further towards the elbow area and the heaven rotation to try and watch your back a little bit while they're pushing up through main towards the site. I like different angles off of this doorway here that go across just because they kind of throw things for a loop. The problem is they're still very far out and are likely to be caught. So different things further in are much better, especially like this one here, because the enemy cannot slowly walk through here and take the time to find this and then aim over and shoot it. Otherwise they're putting themselves at risk to getting peeked by whoever is currently defending heaven. The biggest setback to any of these tripwires within the heaven area is the fact that you can't cover both the entrance to heaven and the entrance to ropes room successfully with only a single tripwire. So you do need to be careful and make sure that your team or whoever is in that area knows that they're at danger. Lastly would be your second smoke, and I honestly suggest that you just hold on to your second smoke cage because they're very good at buying you out of desperate situations, and they're also great for helping out with retakes as well. And the big thing to remember is once you throw a cage down, you can't pick it back up. So you want to be more adaptable and versatile with your smokes and at least keep one on you for as much time as you can. Next up would be the mid location on split. And honestly, this location is a little bit more difficult to defend because it's so open, and a giant open space is not Cypher's best friend. Cypher loves corners and jagged edges, different places to hide his camera and tripwires behind. But with that being said, there are still things that you can do. You can do this setup either from the mailroom or from Rope's room, but my personal favorite is from mailroom. It just feels a little bit safer and gives you a little bit more opportunity to get a kill and still back up without losing your life. The first thing that you're going to want to do right as the barrier drops is to throw a tripwire right along the stairway here. The reason I say that you want to throw this first is because, like I said before, it's very open here in the mid location and enemies can see basically everything that's going on. So if you wait too long to throw this tripwire, enemies will be able to see it being deployed and destroy it without it gaining anything for you. That's why I want you to throw it first. After that, set up your camera, which is going to go right up here behind this air duct in a nice and safe, defensible spot, because you don't want to lose your camera either, otherwise you have to wait for 45 seconds to get a new one, and you're going to be blind this entire time. The last thing that you do is you throw a little smoke cage right here on the stairs below your tripwire. It doesn't matter when you throw this, of course the enemy's going to know that it's going down, but that doesn't give them too much because they can't destroy it before it deploys. Pull back into this nice little safe spot here in mailroom or back all the way up into heaven. The big difference between the two locations is going to be that defending from mailroom will give you an opportunity to peek with your cage out and take a fight or just get a free kill, but you're going to be at a higher risk. Whereas if you defend from heaven, you won't be able to peek and get that kill, but you also won't be at risk of dying and will still gain information to give to your teammates so that you can get some rotations or at least make sure that people are ready for whatever push is coming. Now hopefully you noticed I only threw out one smoke and one tripwire, and this was because of the fact of the versatility of the mid location. As I said before, you can defend mid either from mailroom or from Rope's room. That being said, you still want your back to be covered and to help out with a sight as much as you possibly can. Like I said before, I want you to hold on to one smoke so you can be as versatile as possible, but feel free to use that other tripwire in any location you see fit, whether it's one of my defensive A tripwires that I showed you, or one of the defensive B tripwires that I'm about to show you. So while defending the B site, obviously the best way that you can defend it is going to be using the one-way smoke over this doorway that I have in my other video, but with that being said, not everybody likes to use one-way smokes, and sometimes enemies catch on to them and just adapt too well. So you need to have more than one setup that's viable for this location. What I want you to do is take your camera and run over to this building over here. Jump up and throw it as high as you can on the wall. This is an extremely defensive camera, but it gives you a great view of the entire site, including where the enemy wants to plant, and it's also in a location where enemies aren't likely to look because they'd be putting themselves at risk of being shot in the back if they're looking this direction. I like to throw different tripwires off of spots like this trash can here, which goes across and actually hits the ground over here because it's just at such a very light angle. I also, if you can get it lined up just right, like to throw it off of this little pallet here, going in either direction. You can actually get one off this corner as well, if it's going to be nice and play with me. There we go, and throw it there to this wall. The biggest thing that I have to say about these three tripwires, specifically these two going towards the site, is that sometimes Cypher tripwires are very low and glitchy, and I think it's just based off their distance from the ground, that it may be something like the enemy stepping over them, quote unquote, but low tripwires don't always catch the enemy. Sometimes they just walk right over them and it doesn't even trap them. That being said, I would place one of the three of these tripwires for your site defense, and then the last tripwire I would use is actually right over here where they like to plant the bomb. Throw it right here. No enemy is going to slowly and carefully walk up to planting the bomb, and this is going to give you a good little delay on their plant, that way you have more time to adjust and be ready. Obviously the best spot to put your smoke is right in here. I like to put it a little bit further in, that way it barely comes out of the edge of this little doorway so that you've got a better time shooting enemies as they come out. If it comes too far out of the doorway, you're giving them more of an edge because they can get further out and use the contours and angling of your smoke to actually hide them a little bit better. And then, like I've said on the last two locations as well, save your last smoke and use it accordingly to whatever you think necessary. Obviously, there's multiple different areas that you can use them, including throwing it into the CT rotation. I know it seems weird to use that as a defender, but sometimes you just need to back away and save your life. And doing that while being chased is a really good option because it's going to slow down your enemies and give you time to recoup yourself. Thank you guys so much for taking the time and watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it and got a lot out of it. I'll see you guys all later.